Top 5 things to consider when selling a car. I am selling my car, and the first thing that came to mind when I thought that I need to sell my car is how can I get the most money out of it? How can I get the best deal possible? The salesman inside of me is excited. But when I looked a little bit deeper into the subject of car selling, there are five things that I need to consider before I even get to the money. And if I do not give those 5 things proper attention, if I do not cover those 5 bases, not only I will not get the most money out of selling my car, but I could even get into the trouble by doing it. First thing to consider is safety of car selling transaction. See, if I were selling a bicycle and someone got on that bicycle during a test ride and just took off with it, I would lose $200, and for the next couple of weeks I'll be upset about it. But my car has a price tag between $10,000 and $15,000, and even a chance of losing that kind of money makes me seriously uncomfortable thinking about it. There is also an issue of personal safety. Last time I was selling a used car, 2 Mexican guys showed up for a test drive, and they were the sweetest guys in the world, but thinking about a test drive when one of them is behind the wheel and another one is in the back seat, you can see where this would go, right? If they are not nice guys, they could just kick me out of the car and drive off, or even worse. So on that test drive, I had to be adamant that there is only one person in the car. There is a person driving the car, I'm in the passenger seat, and there is no one behind me on that back seat for my personal safety. And to address those safety concerns, I need to consider common practices in the area that are done during car selling process. So I could either go to a bank for the final step of car selling transaction, or do it at accountant's office, or just have witnesses. Or here in Australia, what they do, carsales.com has an escrow account, seems like it, where the buyer deposits the money, and when the transaction is done, it's released to a seller. So there is like a third-party intermediate that guarantees the safety of that transaction. And that's something that needs to be researched, and I need to be very aware of that safety aspect before I go into a car selling process. Second thing to consider when selling a car is legality. No matter where you are, the local government wants to make sure they have their say in how car sales are done. And what that means for me is that when I was buying my car, I got some paperwork, I shoved it in a drawer, and since then I even moved my apartment, and I don't even know where that paperwork is. I don't even know why this car is considered to be my car. I'm just driving it. So I need to find that paperwork, and I also need to go to government website and see what forms I need to fill out. There is apparently at least one form that I'm aware of that I need to fill out when I'm selling the car. So all that legality needs to be taken into account. Third base to cover is car loan. As many people do these days, and I've done it that way as well, I took a loan to buy my car, and technically I'm not an owner of this car. The owner of the car is the money loaning company, the finance company. And I gave them a call yesterday, and what they said is, in order to sell my car, I need to either pay off the loan, so put a bunch of cash up front, or when the transaction happens, the buyer pays the car loan company, and then they release the document so the title can be transferred in the buyer's name. Fourth base to cover, fourth thing to consider when selling a car privately is getting a certificate from mechanic. In the state of Victoria in Australia, where I am right now, it's called roadworthy certificate, and all that means is that mechanic guarantees that this car is in a good condition and the buyer can buy it and safely drive it. So again, if I'm selling a car privately, I need to take into consideration that first I take it to the mechanic and get that certificate, and hopefully I just get it straight away. This car is quite new, so I'm definitely going to get it straight away, and only with that certificate I can proceed with selling my car. Finally, the fifth thing to consider before I start selling is the amount of time and effort that it will take me to do a private sale. Selling car privately is not as easy as just someone showing up at my door and giving me the money and driving off. I need to take a car to a car detailing company to make sure that it looks absolutely shiny, glorious piece of steel in the world. And then I need to take photos, then I need to post them on the local car selling website. Then I need to do test drives, and again that's gonna take a bit of time to do those test drives. And finally I need to find a person who is surely buying it and take them to a bank and do the paperwork and do the buying transaction, selling transaction. And as it happens, I already made plans to move from Australia to Europe in the next 6 weeks. And if this car selling process drags over 6 weeks, I will be in trouble because I will have to renegotiate my commitment at my new location. I will have to change my plane ticket. I will have to find accommodation here in Australia because I'm moving out of my apartment. So if this car selling process drags over 5 weeks and I have 1 week left, I'm not gonna continue with it. I'll just take it straight to a dealer and just get whatever money I have, so I don't have to change the rest of my plans that are already in place. So my expectation is that I would gain between $2,000 and $4,000 by selling my car privately as opposed to taking it to a car dealership. But in order to take advantage of that and in order to get that money, I need to make sure that I cover my all 5 bases. I already paid off my car loan. I've done that yesterday. It just makes my life a little bit easier. And the next step for me is to take the car to a mechanic to get roadworthy certificate. Then I'll be taking it to a car detailing company. And then as I'm posting the ads, as I'm doing the test drives, I'm making sure that everything concerning my safety and safety of transaction is observed, the rules are followed. And also while that is happening, I'll be very diligently watching the time to make sure I can sell my car and have the money before my plane takes off.